This episode is brought to you by Brock's Peppermint Candy Canes. Whether you're trimming a tree, adding to your stockings, or making a warm cup of cocoa, Brock's Peppermint Candy Canes make any moment sweeter. And with their great taste and refreshing mint flavor, the holiday spirit tastes like Brock's. Brock's, make moments sweeter. Visit Brock's.com to shop the full range and recipe inspiration today.
On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, we talk about the Red Wedding.
Oh, that.
Intro music.
My country. Feels no good to be dead. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
So I just thought of something. We could do this. For the people who are listening in their car, you need to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
If I start the worm on this side, and then you got to follow through on the other
but
side.
The problem is on the stream we're up and down.
Are we reverse or up and down?
Well, we're up and down. So like I'd have to kind of hand it.
We'd have to
up
do.
To you,
there you go, and I have to pull it down. Yeah, there we go.
Anyway, so that is a very visual joke to start us off for this podcast. We are Bantha Milk Podcast.
We are Bantha Milk Podcast.
That's Rob. I'm
am.
Nick. Rob's beard is starting to grow back again.
Yeah, I haven't shaved. You're lucky I showered. It's summertime. Summer.
And you just got back from a volleyball game.
Yeah, well, kind of.
There
was a lot of standing around. There's not a lot of, except for being out in the sun.
Yeah, but it was
and the heat. Yeah,
it wasn't that hot of a day
sweating
today.
A little bit there. But anyway, whatever.
Pretty temperate as far as climate today.
That's
I would
right.
Say. Anyway, so yeah, we are back for another episode. We you might have caught our doom and gloom podcast last time, where we talked about how terrible some of the Acolyte has been thus far. And again, we like to fancy ourselves some of the lesser salty podcasters out there.
We're friendlier.
It looks like the general consensus has shifted on the momentum on the Acolyte once the new episode is dropped. So we've got some stuff to talk about that.
Yes.
So we're ready to go. I think, Rob, you found one last beer from our dear friend who sent us these delights, right?
Yes. And I don't remember if we drank this one already, and he might have sent us two. Nope, he only sent us one stout. Dark Side Imperial Stout from Adam. Right. One bottle labeled stout, so I have that because it's Dark Side.
Well, Adam, I'll take a minute here. We have enjoyed going through each of these beers over the past couple episodes. So thank you for sending these our way.
Yes, thank you, Adam.
As a self-confessed not enormous beer drinker, right? I like beer, but it's not my favorite drink.
Right.
I found something to enjoy in all of these beers. So nice job, man.
Yes, nice job.
Keep on brewing.
So now stout is a darker beer. It's supposed to be.
That's
so
what
let's
they say.
see. Okay,
Ooh, that was
nice.
pretty. It was a pretty solid crack right there.
Smells good. Yeah, it smells good. Right.
What are the hints? Give me a beer aficionado's rundown.
Stout is normally like almost like a coffee-ish.
Okay, sure. Did you went from?
I don't know why. Like I tried to go really. I don't know.
It's the muscle memory is a hell of a thing, man.
Yeah, I'm getting some coffee.
All right.
At the end there, let's see how dark it is.
Oh yeah, like licorice. I don't know why I said it like that, but here we are.
Yeah, licorice is another good flavor with this.
I figured it was.
Yeah,
that's nice, man.
Nice.
That's dark. That's dark as the night.
That is dark. This is oh my gosh, this is almost black. It's so dark.
Yeah, man.
Really, really good. That looks like a beautiful.
All right. Has it? What's the smell profile?
Just delicious.
Just delicious. Yeah, you get hints of delicious.
I'm getting hints of delicious.
Yeah.
Hints of savory deliciousness. Yeah. I think I smell some licorice.
Sure.
Some not really very much coffee. More licorice.
Well, why don't you put some on your taste buds, and then we can. I don't think anyone needed.
Nobody wanted to hear that.
Anyone needed that. I think YouTube just shut down our channel.
They did. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, tell me.
Black licorice. Do you like black licorice?
I'm not a big licorice fan.
Oh, this tastes just like black licorice. It's so good. Oh my gosh, this is really, really good, Adam. A huge fan of this one. I will give you that. Yes. So
all right, Rob.
When you
is a
finish
fan.
your whiskey that you have over there, if you want to taste some black licorice in a beer, this is delicious.
I'll let you know. I'm not. I'm willing to try anything. I've never been much for licorice. Are you now? Here's a question. Now that we're talking, are you a Twizzlers or Red Vines family?
Twizzlers.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah,
Red vines are weird.
Red vines are weird. Are red vines like all the little skinny ones that are wrapped together?
Yeah.
So they were fun when I was little at the pool. I remember
Mm-hmm.
going to the pool, and I remember that's all they had. But I remember peeling them apart and then eating like one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a conversation. I have no dog in this race because I'm not a big candy fan.
Okay.
I love chocolate, but I'm not big on like sweet treats like candy sort of stuff.
Sure.
So Twizzlers even. I'm like, oh, good Twizzlers.
I will say this miraculously. Last week we had the Star Wars Oreos.
We did, and I still have some in my house somehow.
So I don't know how, because the whole bag of blue ones disappeared the next day.
Oh.
Not even by me.
Oh, really?
Like, I would admit to it.
Would you?
I was taking 2 or 3 at a time, but I went back for more, all gone. And then 2 days later, the red ones disappeared also.
Okay, so who is it?
And I know it's not the wife.
Okay. It's
So
the wee ones.
Yeah, and one of the wee ones isn't even here.
And so it's a wee one.
So there's a wee one that it was, and so we bought 2 more boxes of them. Couldn't find them at Walmart, but then found them at ShopRite. So I was like, oh, here's 2 more.
Yeah, she's gone.
Gone. So
See,
the Star Wars Oreos.
I think normal Oreos I can pound like a sleeve in a sitting, and I wish I were exaggerating.
Oh no, I know. Yes.
But I think what keeps me from like binge eating these is that Kyber crystal thing in the middle.
the little sugar.
It's just
packets,
a little sweet for me, and
Mm-hmm.
so like I like it, but like I can't really eat more than 1 or 2 at a time.
Speaking of sweet, we went to Dunkin' today, and I got the kiwi watermelon refreshers.
How was that?
Very kiwi.
Okay.
Not a lot of watermelon.
Was it refreshing?
And way too sweet.
Oh yeah, well that's my problem with any of those things anymore. Is like I can't do the sweet drinks thing.
Yeah, way too sweet. I was like, I was hot, so I wanted to drink a lot of it, like, or drink it fast, I guess, whatever.
Sure.
And like my stomach hurt. It was so sweet. I was like, oh, too much.
Yeah,
But anyhow,
I like the idea of those drinks. Like I'll have like the strawberry apple. Go-Go squeeze.
Oh,
right?
Go-Go squeezes. Okay.
And that to me is like a refreshing drink. That's as much of a sweet drink as I get. I know everyone listening wants to hear about.
Yeah,
our
they
Go-Go
definitely want to hear what our
squeeze.
favorite drinks are.
If you have a favorite Go-Go squeeze, please send your
Send it
queries
our way.
and interesting emails our way to banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com. Let's move on, shall we?
Let's move on.
I haven't had a sip of my whiskey.
Oh
yet.
yeah, have a sip of your whiskey,
Yeah.
and then over here. Right there is the blue milk container, which
have you done
I then
your work
painted
on
the
it?
inside. Yeah,
It does
Yeah.
look pretty good over there, actually.
yeah, that's nice and hidden over there, but it looks So there you go. So if you
Gail's
want to
saying
keep
that the refreshers are better with coconut milk in their opinion. Right? So down in the comments there. So yeah,
Okay.
my wife has talked about the refreshers at Wawa before too, then liked some of them. So I don't know. Like there's so many options. I feel like now.
yeah, there's so many options. Anywho,
Thank you, Wawa,
thank you
for existing.
And so the rest of our social medias, I have a bone to pick with the Supreme Resort boys.
Pick that bone.
So at the end of their last episode, the Case of Disney Parks Tour Part 1, which was a 2 hour and 16-minute episode.
Good for them.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I listened all the way through. They throw their social medias all the way at the end.
That way they think we won't catch them.
Right. So they did throw us a shout out. They were very nice, and they asked.
But
Eric asked Dan if anybody put water out by our trailer recently.
not recently.
No, we were out here, and it's hot.
No.
And we're in a metal horse
someone
trailer.
left like a whole bucket of milk out there.
Right.
Just sitting out.
Just sitting out there. It curded and everything for us. It was delicious.
It was. I mean, the chunky lemon milk was really good. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, for thinking about us and forgetting to
It turned
give
blue,
us water.
and Rob
Yeah.
put some of it on his mantle behind him over
But
there.
the Supreme Resort, good show, like it. Scraping the Vault, Puny Pod, where they said they talk about small people.
I love it.
And of course the main show, Ears Up, and what did Dan say, with less in depth now, because they got rid of that show, so it was pretty funny. So check out all the other shows here on the Supreme Resort on the
Ears Uposphere.
Ears Uposphere, the Ears Up broadcasting network or something like that.
Ears Up, multiverse, right?
Multiverse.
Now it's all about the cinematic universes, right?
Cinematic,
so it's
yes,
the Ears Up cinematic universe.
Yes, that's what we're under.
We want to specify this timeline. Right, before we get into the multiverse timeline.
Which, by the way, I can't wait for Wolverine and Deadpool, but they are saying something about like this Wolverine, so apparently
it's like a multiverse thing.
Yeah, they're doing a multiverse thing.
And I'm annoyed too because it's on me at this point. I haven't seen Logan yet, and all I've heard about Logan is that it's incredible.
Okay, yeah.
So I think part of the reason why they didn't want to bring that character back is because they gave him such a beautiful ending.
Yeah, and he was like older in that one also. Yeah.
And so I'm sure this is their way of trying to do that and like not damage what they already did. And the great thing about Deadpool is they can just do it in a ridiculous way and make fun of it.
Yep.
And that's fine.
And they make fun of it in the middle of it.
Like literally. Not like, but like literally be like, that is the stupidest way we could have possibly put you in this movie.
Right.
All right, let's go.
All right, let's go. And we just did that because that's how stupid we are.
And it'll be great.
And it'll be awesome. And I really enjoyed Deadpool. All right, let's get some news up here real fast.
Ding, 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 ding.
Star Wars news.
Womp.
I'm actually happy this Google Alerts about Star Wars is much better than last week's, where it was always just Acolyte stinks. Star Wars fans just realizing Darth Plagueis was in Episode 1 and we all missed it.
Okay.
I don't even want to open up this because I have a feeling this is all just...
I am sure that's malarkey.
Yeah, because it's by Gaiman Gibble.
Who?
Gaiman Gibble.
Like gaming, but like with a apostrophe and no G?
Gamin Gaiman Gibble.
Gaiman Gibble.
Gaiman Gibble.
Old Gaiman Gibble coming to town to talk to us about
and then
Darth
there's
Sidious.
Another one right next to it that says Mace Windu's fate was quietly confirmed and we all missed it. Also by Gaiman Gibble.
I think in Gaming Gimbal is a bit of a gaming moron.
Yes. So this one, Screen Rant. I like these guys. 10 ways Star Wars would have changed if Padme was a Jedi too.
Interesting.
So, do we want to find out how?
Sure,
let's find out. So, Padme should have been a Jedi. Here are the 10 ways. Anakin and Padme may have never been married.
Sure.
Number 9. Naboo might have fallen to the Nemoidians without Padme as queen.
Probably.
Maybe. Padme would have sought Yoda's guidance.
Okay.
Padme could have sensed the growing darkness in Anakin. He basically spelled it out to her as it was. Like,
yeah, I think she kind of got the hint.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it was a secret to her. She early on, he was like, hey, I just murdered a whole tribe of people.
And the women and the children too.
If only I were a Jedi, I could have sensed this growing darkness within him.
It's weird. I mean, I didn't see it because I wasn't a Jedi.
Honestly, and we're only halfway through this list, but like the way this list is going, the next one could be number 6. She could have used the Force.
Number 6.
Number 7. She could have jumped higher.
She could have jumped away.
Just all things that could have happened.
Anakin might have been less afraid of Padme's death if she also had the Force.
I disagree.
Padme may have been able to stop Anakin, even if it meant killing him.
That could have been an interesting little bit of drama, but I think we got that same amount of drama with Obi-Wan. That was already a more
I have the
cemented
higher ground,
relationship.
Anakin. Yeah,
I'm higher than you, so I win.
I think it was good with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
With the Force, Padme may have survived childbirth and raised the twins.
Nah,
you don't think so?
Nah.
Okay. Palpatine would have needed to kill Padme himself.
Himself? Nah.
Padme would have been a much bigger threat as a Jedi.
You know what were also Jedi? Were like the 3 or 4 red shirts that attacked the Palpatine with Mace Windu.
Yeah.
That died in the first second of battle.
Yeah.
And they were like probably pretty. It's not like Mace Windu went to like the Padawans and was like, all right, Padawans, let's go round up this Sith Lord.
No, yeah.
He brought his homies with him, and they were sliced through. So I think Padme would have been in trouble.
Yeah. This one, Luke and Leia would have known that Darth Vader was their father, and may not have wanted to save him.
Why? Why wouldn't they want to save him?
I don't know. And finally, Padme could have been the true chosen one.
Yeah.
It could have been Padme. Nah.
I give this list 1 out of a
Yeah.
100
Yeah. Not
credits.
a good. Sorry, Screen Rant. Not
Screen
happy
Rant,
with you.
I am screen can't with you right now.
Yeah, and then the Acolyte Episode 5 just gave Star Wars new Sith Lord exactly what he wanted, also by Screen Rant.
Interesting.
We'll talk about that. I don't know. Whatever. And this one from Inside the Magic, which is total garbage.
Sure. Okay, I love that. Give
So
me that
we're not
garbage.
even, or I'm not, but report Ahsoka Star
Well, hold on.
Wars.
Is it all uppercase?
It's not all uppercase.
Okay, I thought it might
report colon, and then
Okay.
this is in quotes. Ahsoka Star Wars, Ahsoka Star recast in Star
Oh,
Wars.
yeah, sure.
Disney seeking replacement Inside the Magic.
Of course.
So
Here, Rosario Dawson, she's not a bankable star,
No.
so they got to find
So
someone.
you know, once you click through the 31 ads, it's going to be this person who was unknown character is being replaced by somebody else.
Yep.
This one might be fun to look at. 10 scariest Star Wars villains ranked.
Okay.
All right, are
I'm
you ready?
sure I'll disagree, but let's
Yeah,
go.
I think we'll disagree as well. But anywho,
Why don't you
number
start
10.
from 10,
10.
and go to 1? I think that makes a lot of sense.
Kylo Ren's redemption prevents him from being terrifying.
So then why is he on the list?
I don't know.
Isn't it the top 10 most terrifying?
Yeah, but this is 10. This is the least of the terrifying.
Right, but there are more than 10 bad guys. So then
Yes.
why, if
the
if he's
central
not
villain of the
terrifying-
sequel trilogy, Kylo Ren, made waves for the first moment he burst on the screen. His unique lightsaber caught the audience's eyes. However, his redemption arc, which it's worth noting works well for his character,
Disagree.
prevents him from being as terrifying as he could be.
Also disagree.
False.
I don't know. I thought he was, there's lots of problems with the sequels, but no, I again, we're going to keep going here, but I have a problem with this list because if it's the top 10 most terrifying, number 10 should be terrifying.
Right.
Just not as terrifying as number 1.
As number 1.
Who's number 9?
Number 9, second sister, Thrilla Sundari poses the biggest threat to Cal Kestis' life.
Oh, second sister. Trilla, right?
Trilla? Yeah. Trilla.
She's not that terrifying.
Okay.
I would not put her on this list, and I don't think I would put her above Kylo Ren.
Okay. I don't. This has a comic picture here. So Martian
Rowe.
Martian Rowe
Okay, now
knows just what the
Martian
weapon
Rowe is terrifying.
Okay.
And he should be on this list. Martian Rowe is the
He's
big bad
Uh-huh.
in the new
High
High
Republic.
Republic series,
Yeah.
and now I'm about halfway through that book right now.
He's the
new book
Eye
just
of the
came out.
Nile?
Yes, the Eye of the Nile. The Nile are the bad guys, like
Okay.
the faction of bad guys that are like causing havoc during this time period. And he is the Eye, which is like
Their
it
boss.
wasn't really their ruler, but he has manipulated it so that now it essentially is.
Okay.
And he's kind of a psychotic. He's kind of crazy. He's a race of alien that's like just frightening looking. They have really, really like dark black eyes and sharp teeth.
Okay. This picture, he's got a helmet on.
Yeah,
so-
he has a helmet that is just one eye in the middle.
Yeah, one eye in the middle.
Sometimes
Yep.
he has a lightsaber because he stole lightsabers from Jedis and stuff.
Okay. Very cool.
But he also has these called Force Eaters. They're these like dogs with tentacles that essentially turn Jedi into dust.
Okay. Very cool.
And while doing it, make them relive some terrifying. It's like the parts of the books where these things are called the Nameless
Okay.
are like loosed, and we hear the point of view perspective of the Jedi who are running from them is genuinely horrifying. Like
Awesome.
And listening to the guy who reads the audiobook do it,
Okay.
he does it in such a way that I'm like driving in my car and I'm like
You're
white
cringing?
like I'm like I find
You're
myself like
looking
catching
around,
my breath.
making sure they're not actually
Yeah,
chasing
it's
you.
actually really so. Martian Rowe should definitely be on that list.
Okay, good. We agree with one of them. The Grand Inquisitor
So
spearheads.
we have Andy in our comments, I think, talking about Kylo saying terrifying from a story and writing standpoint. So I think that also does count.
That does
You're right.
count, yes. The Grand Inquisitor spearheads one of the galaxy's most frightening groups.
Yeah,
From Star
I liked
Wars
the Grand
Rebels.
Inquisitor. I do think he was more frightening in Rebels
Yes.
than in the Obi-Wan show.
Yes.
I think that was largely a makeup problem, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to sneeze, so excuse me.
Bless you. All right, so he is number 7. Number 6, Darth Maul returns with a vengeance. So the return of Darth Maul in the first appearance, Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace, bless you.
Oh gosh.
Maul is... okay, I muted your mic. In the Phantom Menace, Maul is a silent threat. He lurks in the shadows. Maul returns with a newfound ferocity in Star Wars The Clone Wars. Mother Talzin sent his brother Savage Opress to find him in the Outer Rim and bring him home. From there, he becomes one of the most significant threats to the Republic, particularly on Mandalore. He forms a group of allies, and together they work to overthrow Duchess Satine. Yep, this culminates in Maul ending Satine's life, which was just another step in his vendetta against Obi-Wan Kenobi, who we saw the reason in such miserable state in the first place. He's terrifying and unpredictable, and one of the strongest villains in the franchise.
Yeah, I think Maul deserves to be on this list. Did you turn me back up?
I did.
Cool.
Yes.
I don't know. I think he should probably be higher.
He's at 6. So.
We'll see who they give us on top of that, but
Palpatine is at 5.
hard disagree.
Yeah, he's got to be much higher.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I said I had problems with the sequels. The one thing I think they nailed that they did better than the prequels or the original was making Palpatine terrifying.
Yes.
Like
yes.
him connected to all those machines and his creepy talking and the sound effects going on underneath and the sound editing on his conversation with Kylo Ren at the beginning of the last... not The Last Jedi. What's the last one?
Number 9.
Number 9. Anyway, it's some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen. I saw Palpatine do, and I was jazzed about that.
Yeah.
So I liked how they portrayed Palpatine. Didn't like how they used him and brought him back, but they made him terrifying there, and like you felt like he was super powerful in that one.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. I agree. Number 4 is Asajj Ventress.
I'm sorry. No. No.
So I am now reading. I wanted to tell you, Dark Disciple.
Yes, you showed me that. How do you like it?
I love it. And it's funny because there's a part in here where they talk about Asajj Ventress taking on the brother, Savage Opress. Savage. Yes. She takes him on to, and that's the second time that she tried to kill Count Dooku. Mm-hmm. She trained him and tortured him in the way that only Dark Sisters and Night Sisters can. So she is, I think, if you read all of the books and everything that she's in, she is much more scary. And
I'm not trying to say like I like her as a character.
Right.
I'm not trying to, but like when you put her above Palpatine,
above Palpatine,
that's
like
insanity.
Palpatine is this
and Maul.
And Maul, yeah. Palpatine's the point of all 9 movies.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
like, yeah. So I think,
that's incorrect.
I think
there's
she
opinions, and then there's right and wrong,
and this is just wrong. Yeah, she should definitely be on the list of 10. I don't think she should be above Maul or.
And here's the thing: like they put Kylo Ren at 10. And they said, his redemption arc makes him less scary.
Right.
She has a redemption arc.
She has a redemption arc in this book. Yeah. Like even before this book. Like she goes from being a Sith trainee to leaving. And so that's her redemption arc. And even in this book, she's like training Voss, right?
Quinlan, right?
Yeah, Quinlan Voss. Yeah. She's training Quinlan Voss in dark Jedi, in the dark dark arts. Yeah, sure,
it's Harry Potter land.
Potter, and but she's also like making sure that she doesn't fall back into that herself. So she has her own redemption arc. This one definitely. The Stranger, Chimere is one of the deadliest threats yet.
So we haven't even gotten to that yet. So we will talk all about that.
We'll talk all about that.
I'm going to leave it there.
You're going to leave him at 3?
I don't know about again. The numbering on all of this is way off.
Right. I think he should definitely be in the
list,
10.
I like
because also like the other thing that Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Voss are talking about in this book is how Quinlan Voss doesn't want to fall to the dark side. He's trained a Jedi. He trained at the Jedi Temple. So he doesn't want to do the dark side things of killing for no reason.
Right.
But he's convincing himself, I have to do this because Count Dooku killed millions of people.
Right.
Whole civilizations, just annihilate everybody so that he can get their planet and whatever. So he's trying to redeem himself there. So if you're saying that this guy is one of the deadliest because he killed 5 people in one battle,
right?
he didn't kill entire civilizations.
Yeah. And what I like about that too, they do a really good job about this in the books. It's hard. I guess it's probably harder to do this on screen because we don't get the point of view in the mind of the character, but they're making a good job, doing a good job with the Jedi specifically in the High Republic series to emphasize that when a Jedi like kills someone, like in the movie, it's like kill, move on to the next guy.
Right.
Kill. But in the like they talk every time it's like a person or something. They're like, they're sad.
Yeah.
And they're like they like in their brains have that moral conversation almost where they like will say it pains me to snuff out the light of another child of the Force, but I know that they will go on to do terrible things.
Yeah.
And so like it is cool to see that mindset of like, and I think that's part of like why we see the Jedi go so astray in the Clone Wars, because many of their targets weren't humans, so they didn't have to have that moral dilemma.
Yeah, they were just cutting down robots.
Yeah, and so it almost became like, I don't know, maybe at a certain point you didn't even differentiate. I've been killing robots so long. Here's a dude.
Here's
whatever.
a dude.
Chop, chop.
He's the same thing as a robot. Yeah.
So.
It was funny, as we've talked about this, and we talked about this even when we had John Jackson Miller on, how he was saying, like, in the books, you really can't do too much because it all has to, the main stuff has to take place in the movies.
Right.
Or now maybe even on Disney Plus. But in this book, Quinlan Voss is fighting General Grievous, and at one point he like cuts off his hand. And I was like, ooh, General Grievous is one of the bad guys that you can do a lot of damage to. And
doesn't have to affect the overall movie, right?
Right, yeah, because
they
just get a new hand. And I was like, oh, that's good.
That's
like
a good loophole he found.
Good loophole he found. And he was like,
you can't chop off Count Dooku's hand.
No, because you got a lot of explaining to do then.
That's right.
But you can chop off a robot's hand. You could just get another one. Just look
that's really good,
C-3PO. Yep. Okay, so the Stranger is number 3. Number 2. Once again, I think I really like this, but I think
now hold on.
One should be Palpatine.
I agree. Now I'm just trying to think now because I'm thinking through the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
One of these is going to be Thrawn, and one of them is going to be maybe the mother, either Mother Talzin or else the other Night Sister.
Nope. Well, you're right about Thrawn. Thrawn is number 2.
Okay. And who's number 1?
General Admiral Thrawn's intellect makes him formidable.
Sure.
And number 1...
Darth Vader. It's Darth Vader.
Is Darth Vader. Yeah.
Okay.
The ultimate Star Wars villain.
I'll allow that. Because Darth Vader was so synonymous with, movie villains. I mean, I think he was ranked number 1 movie villain of all time.
Right. And especially like if you watch the original trilogy, like you don't understand until Return of the Jedi how powerful Palpatine is.
Right.
All the power that you see is through Darth Vader, force choking people from galaxies away,
right? Just
because he can see you on the hollow screen, whatever. And how much just his presence, as soon as he walks into the room, it's just like, oh no. So so I'm okay with him being 1, maybe 2 behind Palpatine.
Yeah. That'd be fine.
But yes.
But yeah, the list has some problems.
Has some problems with it. All right. Episode 5 is perfectly explained. Proves that the Sith had more to fear from the attachment than the Jedi ever did. That's from Screen Rant. Egerton, listen to Star Wars fans, Dark Horizons, whatever. One Acolyte fan theory would fix a massive Star Wars sequel trilogy problem. Whatever.
Nah. I say we just hop into talking about
I think we talk about it. Yeah. So let's go to a quick commercial.
By Menon. No one will get that except for us.
Except for old people.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to drink some black licorice beer.
Drink that black, and I'm going to have a sip of this delightful Bullet Kentucky bourbon. What? Bullet bourbon, frontier whiskey. Hannigan's. You ever remember the Seinfeld episode with Hannigan's?
No.
Is that Kramer does like a whole ad for this gin.
Okay. I love, why don't you just tell me the name of the movie that you want to see?
Yeah, that is a great one when his phone is numbers very close to the movie phone.
Yeah. And all the kids who are listening are going, where's movie phone?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. All right, we're back. I do have this one thing real fast. I've talked about it, Dark Disciple, really enjoying it. We talked about it before because this is where Quinlan Voss and Asajj Ventress get together. They
Right.
date. He
And
turns bad.
This
then he
is where
turns
people
good.
were concerned with the new rise of the Jedi, whatever the one where Asajj. They told the Asajj story,
Right.
because they were like, well, wait a minute. Oh, because it was not Bad Batch.
Bad
That's
Batch.
right. She was in Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, what about the ending of this? Is this going to mess this up? And you'll have to tell us.
I'll have to tell you. I'll have to let you know.
There you go.
I also found this book, Awesome Facts for Star Wars Fans.
Love it.
So the unofficial collection. We'll read 2 of them.
Oh,
maybe
the
one of them.
unofficial collection.
Unofficial,
Okay.
yes. So I don't know how good it's going to be. It was on, I was going to say Dunder Mifflin. It was on Amazon, so I got it. So to create the iconic lightsabers, prop master Roger Christian dug deep into the scrap heap. A disused photo lamp served as a handle. He added a bit of super glue and parts of an old calculator, and the Jedi's weapon was good to go.
What's a photo lamp?
What's a photo lamp?
I assume a lamp for photography?
Yes.
Like that sort of thing they...
Yeah, because I did see it. The handle was the handle that a photographer used for something.
I
But
gotcha.
yes, that's what it was. Okay, and then one more. An iconic villain, Darth Vader is considered one of the most vicious and evil movie villains ever.
We just learned that.
We just learned this.
Connections.
The iconic Sith Lord was even ranked 3rd by the American Film Institute in their list of the 100 greatest movie heroes and villains.
Oh, heroes and villains. He was
Heroes
first
and
for
villains. Yes. This puts him, who had once been known throughout the galaxy as Anakin Skywalker, right behind Dr. Hannibal Lecter,
Oh, did they put Hannibal Lecter in front
The
of him?
Silence of the Lambs, and Norman Bates in Psycho.
I really thought he was first.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right.
So there we go. It was funny. Dan or somebody posted a video in our little chat group, and it was some British, and it looked very old, game show.
Sure.
And it said, the question was, who was the father of Luke Skywalker? And the first guy chimes in, Anakin Skywalker. And he goes, oh, nope, you're wrong.
And they said Darth
And
Vader.
the second person chimed in, they said Darth Vader. And he goes, you are correct. So
no.
it was funny. David did this. David sent it to us. And then Ryan said, haha, take that, nerd. You knew too much. You're too smart.
It reminds me. So the big hullabaloo in Nintendo world right now is that there's a new Zelda game coming out. And, for the past 35 years, the whole joke was like, you're playing Zelda and someone watching is like, oh, why is Zelda wearing that green thing? Because everyone thinks that Zelda's the playable character. When it's actually Link. But the new Zelda game coming out has Zelda as the playable character.
Oh, so you're actually playing,
You're
as,
playing
Zelda.
as Zelda. So
That is pretty funny.
similar vibes there.
Yes.
Anyway,
The Acolyte,
Episode
episode 5,
five,
which is
season
now
1.
called Night.
night. Yeah. We had
Episode
day.
4 was day.
We have night. Yes.
Now we have night.
I'll hop into this discussion by saying I do not think any of the things that we are about to say change my mind or opinion about the previous episodes.
The previous episodes were still garbage.
Yeah, I mean, to varying degrees. I think
Right.
I think episode 2 was garbage. I
Okay.
think episode 2.
And 3 was a flashback to the...
Oh, that's the one then. 3.
Yes.
3 was garbage. The other ones were okay to intriguing, exciting to not, but this one was certain. Like this is what every episode needs to be.
Yes.
If you want to make a Star Wars, and I'm not just saying like every episode has to be lightsabers and like actually like that was amazing.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but like also when they weren't fighting and things were happening and the plot was moving forward and I was intrigued and I was invested.
Yes.
And that did not happen always in the previous. So anyway,
No.
I was a big fan of this episode. The fight sequences were excellent.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm disappointed that we were right about Chimere being the stranger.
I was a little so I wanted it to be deeper. I wanted it to be a better twist.
It felt like it would have been good if that was what we were supposed to think. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they were putting that out there as the red herring.
Yeah.
And then like the bigger reveal, and we'd be like, oh wow.
Oh,
okay, that makes
didn't even
sense.
see that. Yeah.
Now I'm not mad about it because like it made sense and the guy killed it.
He did
like,
kill it. This episode, he crushed it. He was so good in this episode.
If you look at some of the interviews with the actor, he talks about how Chimere and the stranger, Manny Jacinto, how Chimere and the stranger are two different people essentially. Like he had to play two different people. So, when he's playing Chimere, it was just kind of loosey goosey. He was. I forget who he said he was kind of channeling, but it was
Keanu Reeves.
No, you know what he said? He said he was almost channeling Jack Sparrow.
Okay,
he was sort of had this sort of a vibe to him, and then especially with his movements and just kind of with the stranger, it was all about stillness, like only exerting the amount of movement
that he needed to,
and like everything came from his face and from the projection in his voice, and the only movement he used was for the combat stuff.
Right, and it was funny. It was like a slow reveal as to who it was because when he's first fighting, like his arms were kind of covered up a little bit, or just like hidden behind trees and stuff. And then there's just one scene where like maybe he's holding the lightsaber out, and you can tell that it's a man's arm, and you're like, okay. And then as soon as you see that, you're like, all right, it's not the other Night Sister mom.
Right.
And I was like, darn it. And then, he's fighting some more. And as soon as you see like his skin color and everything, I'm like, all right, it's going to be him. It's a human. He's not purple or he's not whatever.
Yeah.
So then
and again, I'm not mad about it, but
no.
And like we've been calling it.
Yeah.
But at a certain point you're like hoping you were wrong.
Yeah, you wanted to be wrong. And now the next thing is that everybody's trying to figure out how he knows so much about what Master Soul, like why Master Soul was so angry.
Yeah, there's still certainly stuff that he knows that we don't know.
Right, and so the new fan theory is that they're related somehow. They're long lost brothers, or
because they're both of Asian descent.
Because they're both
Is that what the internet is like?
That's like, so I'm like, I hope it's not that obvious. Also, because like now you're really stretching. But because he kept saying like, oh, a true Jedi wouldn't attack an unarmed person, which I want to yell at that line because even if he doesn't have a lightsaber, he's not an unarmed person because he
has the Force.
He has the Force.
User,
He said you Jedi might call me Sith, so he's not saying that he was a Sith.
And that's the other thing, and there's talk about that specific line.
Yeah,
because he very well could have just said Jedi would call me Sith,
right,
and not might call me Sith.
Yeah.
And apparently, now I need to go back and double or triple listen to this, but the big hullabaloo is that twice throughout this episode, Kylo Ren's theme played. And it played like musically, and it played during that line apparently.
Okay, yes, I did. I did read that somewhere also that they said.
So like some theories out there are that like the Knights of Ren were a offshoot of the Sith.
Yeah, and that was
the forming of the Knights of Ren, or the beginning of Knights of Ren.
Yeah,
and his helmet is even reminiscent of Kylo
Ren's helmet.
And the whole thing with the Knights of Ren is that like the Knights of Ren is a lightsaber. That's the whole thing, and like the Knights of Ren, the leader of the Knights of Ren wields Ren, the lightsaber, and they take on the name. That's why Kylo Ren's name was Kylo Ren, because he was the leader of the Knights of Ren. So there's a lot of lore behind it. I don't know how I feel about that.
Right.
It seems like a lot of complication to throw into this.
Yes. And I did read another article. It was like, no, he's not the first Knights of Ren, and no, he's not a Sith, because he just says, you might call me Sith or something like that. I'm trying to go back to a discussion I had with a great nod to the books. I'm also digging the callback to Ren too. My one friend said that there was a callback to Kylo Ren, and I guess maybe they were talking about that music that was there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think he's either of those. Because then he also said something along the lines of, I just want to be me without having any rules.
So that's the other, that's a line that is certainly up for interpretation debate, because the kind of he's making this point that is kind of like reinforced throughout the series of like, you know, the Jedi are the arbiters of how the Force is allowed to be used. You know, we see it with the witches too, right? They're saying we're the only ones who are allowed to train people.
Yes.
Right? The Force is this big thing, and we know that there are different
Uses
Force
of it.
users
Yeah.
that use it for in different ways, but we're the only ones who are allowed to use it, and so like there is this argument to be made that they are creating their own enemies by that, but then you know, at the same time he can't claim to be just this. Oh, I just want it because like, you know, part of his you know, using of the dark side is hurting others and inflicting pain and killing and, you know, domination.
And we still haven't gotten to, now there are still 3 episodes left. So,
right.
But why he was telling his acolyte that she had to kill a Jedi without using a weapon.
Right. And
why what that whole purpose was.
So some people are saying that is like rhetorical / you know, it's using imagery that, like, you know, when they talk about killing the Jedi, they don't mean killing a Jedi, they mean killing the Jedi
as a whole.
Yeah,
like
and you don't kill them with a weapon, right? You kill them with, you know, essentially, you know, by manipulating the system or by.
Okay.
So like, I don't know if maybe there are some people who are thinking that he's being metaphorical when he's saying,
okay,
you don't kill a Jedi or don't kill a Jedi with a weapon. Like, well, think about Soul right now, right? Like, something's telling me that he's going to die. And he's not going to be killed by it's going to be something having to do with this secret he's been hiding or whatever happened in the past.
Yeah.
And so in that way, they're going to break the Jedi spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big theme in the Old Republic or the High Republic stuff is breaking the Jedi spirit. And the whole point of this series and this time period is to show the beginnings of the end.
Right.
For the Jedi. And I think part of that and part of what we see in this series is, you know, the dogma, you know, like just the dogmatic principles being above everything else, right? Like whatever happened or else the truth, it doesn't matter. We have to, you know, live by these rules. And what they're doing a good job of kind of, there's a good parallel in the new book where they're kind of paralleling Anakin with this character Elzar Mann. Elzar Mann is a Jedi Master in the Old Republic or the High Republic, and he's been throughout the last 4 books kind of fighting his darkness, and you get to see that. And in the new book, it's him and there's another Jedi Master, Avar Kriss, and they're like in love. Okay. And like they're not exactly hiding it. You know what I mean? Like as I'm listening, and I'm like, this is not as clandestine as a clandestine. Clandestine. That's the one. Man, I'm a dummy. Clandestine as I would think it would be, considering Anakin, but you can almost see the beginnings of that. So I'm almost wondering if they're trying to show, like, because here they're talking about, you know, connection and love and, you know, all these things being a good thing because they help us to like be who we are and like we need to. My guess is, as this period goes by, we're going to see the Jedi shun connection and shun, you know, relationships, and to the point where this sort of stuff just starts happening and crumbling.
Right. Even in the Dark Disciple, they talk about Asajj talks about that a little bit with Voss, because they're like undercover during this whatever, and she's like, you've never loved anybody before. You've never had any of those feelings, and so now he's starting to like get those feelings type of thing and whatever. So so it is interesting. There was a couple of really good lines that I liked in this episode. It'll also be interesting as we're sitting here talking. I'm like, this episode was so much different than the previous 4, where like we don't know why the Jedi Master in episode 2 killed himself. Right. We still don't know what happened with the Night Sister house when the girls were little. All we know now from this really good episode was that now a lot of killing and a lot of...
So, pour one out, right? Pour several out. So, we lost Kalnaka last one, right?
So, So, I have the list of all the people that we lost. So, I'm going to get into that in a second. But first... he says hiding in plain sight, which was a great line. I loved, and then the other guy goes, why are you showing yourself now, or something like that? And he says, I was wearing a helmet.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the cool thing about his character too, that I really hope now that we have this cool character, he just doesn't get killed off. You know what I mean? Or something like that, because I like him because he's real. You know, like he's a Sith, like every other Sith has been almost mustache twirlingly cartoonish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a bad dude he's almost like a real dude who's like, I don't know, you might, in everything you do, there are prodigies, right? There are regular people that all this, like, you know, in music especially, there's just these regular people that for whatever reason, I don't know why you can do this, but you can.
But somehow you're amazingly
and so like every other time, I don't know, I just feel like we you know, all the bad guys are, like I said, the Dr. Evils. But like this is like a random, he's a wanderer, you know, he looks like a vagabond, they call him the stranger. He looks like he could have a cool story. I just hope we get to hear it.
We get to hear it, yeah. The Cortosis?
Yep, Cortosis.
So a lot of people were like, wait, where did he get Beskar from?
Right.
And then it was revealed through people who read the books, I guess, that there's the Cortosis.
So it's not even about that, because they talk about Cortosis in the Clone Wars.
Okay.
There's a whole thing where they're building Cortosis droids, and they have to destroy the factory so that they can't do that.
Okay.
And it couldn't. The whole reason it couldn't be Beskar is because Beskar doesn't mess with lightsaber blades. It just interacts with them.
Yeah, it just protects you from them. So
and
this
you
was
see that
really
with
cool.
Ahsoka fighting with man, I keep forgetting her name, but you know, with the Beskar staff.
The Beskar staff, yeah.
In this, and it was telltale almost right away, because you saw them like spark and short out.
Yeah. I was first I was a little confused because I didn't see the gauntlet on his arm.
The gauntlet was confusing for
Yes.
sure. I didn't see that until for a while. The helmet I saw, and I was like, oh, but then when he did the arm thing, I'm like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah, where did that come from?
And some people thought maybe he had a fake arm, but then you do see he's got just a gauntlet, like a Cortosis gauntlet on.
Yeah. So so the Cortosis, for those of you who don't know, it's some kind of metalish type thing, but that's why the lightsabers were shorting out, because it was affecting their crystals in the way that they work and stuff.
I think it creates like a power surge essentially, and turns off the power crystal. You'll notice, obviously, they all essentially were able to turn them back on.
Right. It gave it a little bit of surge. You had to reset the button.
Yeah, they had to blow in the bottom of it like a Nintendo cartridge.
Yeah, and then shove it back in nice and neatly, and then Control Alt Delete, and then you hit it a couple times on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then it comes back on again.
Like Fonzie.
Yeah. He snapped his fingers, and the jukebox started playing.
That's right.
So that was pretty cool that it did affect their lightsabers that way. And I thought he was like cutting the lightsabers in half for a second. And I'm like, wow. But it was just like this material just shorted them out. So that was pretty cool. And the other line, which was a really good line, was, spoiler alert, after he killed the Padawan Jedi that I really liked. Yeah, after he killed Jackie, Saul was like, she was just a child. And he was like, you brought her here.
Yeah, yep.
I was like, oh, that's such a good line.
Yeah, that was, and again, it's that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That I like, that makes him real, because it's like, he's a monster. But monsters can be right about things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you're monstrous doesn't make you wrong about everything.
Right.
So like, he's a monster for killing her, but like, what the hell were you doing bringing a child on a mission like this?
On a mission that again, you knew you were going to
part of the problem with the Jedi and their whole system. So
yeah.
And we see that with this, and they're exploring that with Ahsoka and with Cal Kestis, is this idea of training children to go to war.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the whole process where they get taken away from their families and they lose all that.
Yep.
That makes a kid and whatever, and all they're doing is just training to be this super soldier.
And
basically.
they're never allowed to see their family again.
They're never allowed to see their family again, so
it ain't right.
And that's right. That ain't right. All right, so all of the people that were killed in the Red Wedding,
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
F's in the chat.
Yep, pour them all out. So it's funny because the first one that was listed, unidentified male human Jedi.
Red shirt number one.
Red shirt number one. So
we're going to call him Frank.
Frank
the Jedi passed away.
Day.
So
Frank the Jedi was the first one. The Acolyte after where did it go? The unidentified Jedi might not have had the most emotional impact, but he set up the Acolyte Episode 5 quite well. It also established that the Sith Lord was not taking prisoners. A Jedi had already died off screen in the episode's first minute. So he killed the Kelnaka. I really hope we get a flashback because I want to see a Jedi Wookiee.
Sure.
He was just sitting there the whole time. Then the next person that he kills, Itha Pan.
Okay.
She died almost immediately.
Was this the woman who was then greeted with her friend as a shish kebab?
Kurt mowed down Ithitha down like she was barely even a threat, slicing her in the knee and then stabbing her in the back.
Oh, so not that one.
So no, that's who that was. Her death came while Kumar, is that how you say his name? Chimere was fighting off 4 other Jedi simultaneously, which really shows how powerful he was.
Sure.
So we'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. She was the first Keldor Jedi seen in live action since Plo Koon.
Plo Koon, yeah.
In fact,
I actually thought it was Plo Koon when I first saw it. So
okay, but nope, it was not. But believe she would be around longer. And then 3 more unidentified human Jedi, and this is the shish kebabs one. Yeah. Oh my God, this was so awesome. As 3 unnamed humans, it seemed these Jedi were only brought along on the mission to Kofar to show the Sith Lord's strength. Yeah. The sheer brutality of Quimar, is that? Chimere. My goodness, Chimere. Methods turned the Jedi fight for survival into little more than an execution. Chimere impaled the female Jedi on his lightsaber and then used the Force to pull the last unnamed human onto his blade behind her and then beheading them both for good measure. Yeah. So the fight scenes were amazing.
Yeah, and
they
were
really, really good.
Shockingly brutal for Disney. Like I was not, especially, which I'm sure is going to come next. The Yord horde over there.
Yord, yeah,
yeah. Just like the snap of the neck, I was not. I was not ready for.
No, because you're expecting, especially with people who have lightsabers and stuff, to see a lightsaber battle and whatever. But then he's like, I've had enough of you.
And that again, that's. It juxtaposes the two sides, right? The Jedi are supposedly honorable. They supposedly don't kill if someone or fight someone without a weapon. And like, here's the guy calling them out for their hypocrisy, and like he's not going to live to that same code.
Yeah,
right? And that code is just going to, in the end, hurt y'all,
right?
And make it easier for
me.
And
that was another line that he said: if you don't believe in rules, you don't have to follow them, or something along those lines, or something like that. Did you know Osha and May, the girl that plays them? Do you know what I don't know if it was the first time we saw her, but one of the very first times that we saw her was in The Mockingjay.
Oh, that's right. She was, what's her name?
She was the little girl.
Oh, what's her name? That's going to know me.
She was.
Oh, she died. That was heartbreaking. That's right.
What the heck? Where's the cast list? Oh, here we go. Amandale.
I'm sure.
Amandale Stenberg.
No, it's Amandala is her name. Amandala Stenberg.
Okay.
Yeah.
She. Oh my God, my Wi-Fi is so slow down here. The Hunger Games. Rue. Her name was Rue.
That's right.
Her name was Rue. So she was Rue first.
Yeah, she was great in that.
She was great as Rue, yeah. All right, so then we get the shish kebab people, and then we get Yord.
You know who would have done a really good job, like, instead of those 2 crappy child actors?
Okay.
Like, she was a good child actor.
She was.
If they could have gotten her as a child actor to play herself, it would have been really good.
It would have been great, yeah.
Unfortunately, she was
she grew up. Yeah, she got a little too old to play herself as a young one. So the whole Yord was annoying me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and
the whole episode,
he was supposed to like that. I think that was the point of Yord, was he was the all-encompassing like symbol of like the annoying dogmatic BS that the Jedi had become. You know what I mean?
Because
do
he
it
was
by
like,
the letter. This is the way it is. We are the arbiters of the Force. All this stuff.
take the civilian back to the ship.
Yeah.
Take the civilian back to the ship.
Dude, I've known you since we were 5.
Yeah.
I used to wet the bed.
Well, yeah, we
with the
were bunk
civilian.
mates. Yeah, let's go. But yeah, so he was annoying, and it was fun seeing him use the lightsaber as his flashlight the whole time. He did it. He used it more as a flashlight than he did a weapon.
Yep.
There are a lot of surprise, hatred about the lightsabers.
Why?
Because now that the lightsabers are
Glow.
actual real lightsabers
Right.
in the way that they glow. I forget what episode it might have been. It might have been even in episode 7. The battery packs and everything for the lightsabers were on like belts that the people wore.
Right.
And then they had wires going down their arm into the handle.
Right.
And then by episode 8, they were able to get the batteries to fit inside the handle. They had to make the handle a little bit bigger than what it was before. So now the handle's a little bit bigger. The blade is a little bit bigger because it's an actual light bulb
So I think
in
it
there.
looks too big.
So now everybody's like, oh, they're too big. They should be smaller and skinnier and blah, blah, blah.
Shut up.
And even like if you watch Rebels, I saw somebody was complaining about it today, about how toothpicky the lightsabers were in Star Wars Rebels.
You're never gonna get.
Yeah,
you're never gonna get.
like
over it.
they're trying to save themselves and make it look better.
Yep.
Save themselves hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours of reanimating and drawing the lines on manually over top of the cells.
Yeah.
So they can do that now, and it also gives you the real glow. When you're holding a yellow lightsaber, there's a yellow glow in your face now that you weren't getting in episode 4 in A New Hope.
Yeah. Which doesn't seem like a big deal, but then you see that duel between Obi-Wan and Vader.
Right.
When the glow is blue, and then when it turns red, like that.
Yeah.
That adds a lot.
That adds a lot to it. Yeah, it definitely makes it look a lot better. So, shut up.
Yeah, honestly.
Dan said that Star Wars fans are the divorced dad now.
Okay.
Which it took me a second to realize what he was saying. It's just like, I guess like people complaining about their divorced husband or their divorced dad, like dad's never there, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to complain about everything. So that's what they're just complaining about everything. They're just complaining to complain.
Yep.
And it's very annoying. But anyway, so Yord gets killed by snap of the neck.
Yep.
Which was fine because he was super annoying.
Then we get poor Jackie.
And Jackie was my favorite.
Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, she turned into a button.
Yeah, she got
the
little
button.
holes popped into her.
So I really liked her the most because, and I don't know if they did this on purpose or if she was just a much better actor than everybody else.
She was, but go on.
But she had personality.
Yep.
She had emotion in her speak. Where everybody else was a Buddhist monk, we will do this. Yep. She was like, no, let's do this. She held her own better than all the rest of the Jedi Knights. Like she fought way better.
Yep.
When she pulled out, and you knew it was going to get used when she ran into the house or crashed into the house and got Kilmaca's lightsaber.
And we got much more of a double blade. 2 lightsaber battle with her than we did with Anakin.
Yeah,
in, episode 2.
So she did such a good job with the lightsaber. She did such a good job.
And then Kymir pulls his lightsaber apart. And
right,
we see he has a Shota, like little tiny version of a pop, pop, pop.
Yep, and then stabbed her 3 times that fast, which was very, very sad, very disappointing. Because I really, of all of the characters, she was definitely my favorite because she had the most personality.
Yep.
So I was really, really disappointed. But he said, now I have to kill everybody. Anybody who's seen my face, I have to kill them now.
Yep.
So he's gonna try and hunt down Sun Tzu Soul. I know something with an S. And that's where the last 3 episodes are going.
Yeah, and we ended with apparently all you have to do to look like your sister is use a lightsaber.
Oh my god!
Haircut.
So. That was
hair by lightsaber.
Okay.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lightsaber.
Yeah. So, and they made sure they let you know that everybody knows that that's not her.
Right.
Like, Saul was like, what? And she's like, what? And he goes, where's your sister?
Right.
Because he knows it's not her.
Right.
Then the tracker, which was an interesting little creature.
Yeah, Basil.
Yeah. He found the other half of Pip, which is good because then she can put Pip back together when she gets reunited with her droid because she's stuck on the planet.
Right.
But Basil's like, and he's like sniffing around, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, like he's going after her still.
Right.
You don't smell right to me. So Saul knows, Badger knows, and they even made sure that we knew.
Yep.
Because the wrong version of her who was left behind had the tattoo on her arm.
Right.
That they talked about in episode 1 where Saul was like, hey, it's your body, whatever.
Yeah, you got a tattoo. Yeah.
You got a tattoo. That's fine. So, like, everybody knows. And even the stranger, because even when he met her in episode 2, he was like, you look just like her.
Right.
And he was like he went from being the aloof, like, surfer dude, like Jack Sparrow, and he was like, you look just like her.
Right.
You know, so everybody knows that they're not the right people,
yep.
except she thinks she's tricked everybody. And I'm like, come on, like, they're Jedi. You don't think that they will be able to figure this out?
And that'll annoy me if they don't. You know what I mean? That, like, a Jedi can, like, this is a completely different person, but she looks like her.
But she looks like her.
It's her.
And they also really, like, wanted you to know that it was her because when Saul was laying down, the first couple of steps she was, like, real menacing as she walked. And then as Saul picked up his head, she was like, oh, hey, buddy, let's go. Hey, dude.
I was just coming to wake you up, man. You want some eggs and bacon? Making breakfast.
I'm making some breakfast, man. We're best friends. And the other thing that I have a question about, and maybe because Jedi don't ever have this problem, but they're so moral and they're so, like, the high ground.
Sure.
The Green Berets have a saying, leave no man behind.
Sure.
So even if somebody is killed in battle, they're going to do everything they can to bring that guy home so that the bad guys don't do bad things to their body and you know, defame them and all this other stuff. He walks out. There's 5 dead Jedi in this area.
He just leaves them.
And he leaves them.
Yep.
Like, do Jedi not have that same... I mean, I know they don't have...
In just about every other instance like this, we've seen them burn the Jedi in a very sacred ceremony.
Symbolic ceremony and whatever. And he just, like...
proper rights and respect.
He just, like, walks away. He's like, let's go. We got to leave.
Yep. See you guys.
Hello.
We'll send a droid for you.
Yeah, all these people just followed you into battle. 4 of which we don't even know their names. And they all died for nothing, and you're just going to leave them there in the woods.
Yeah, it seems about that.
So I was very disappointed in that. I wanted to see him throw everybody over his shoulder and carry them all back
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'm a Jedi.
I'm a Jedi. I can do this. I have powers. Right. I have skills, some force stuff. I can pick up multiple people.
I mean, if Yoda could pick up an X-Wing,
right.
I think you can carry a couple.
You can carry
dead bodies.
5 dead bodies. Who are your friends?
They're slightly less weighty because part of them was disintegrated by a lightsaber. So they're even less weighty at this point.
And the combination of all 5 of them way less than an X-Wing.
For sure. 100%.
Yes. So yes. So that was the end of it. And then we see that the stranger magically with his lightsaber is still able to kill. They look like spin flap moths.
Yeah, we saw her use the wildlife against Chimera. It was very clear to me that he wasn't going to die.
No.
It would have been annoying if they
if he would have died off screen by moths.
It would have been more annoying if they made us wait to think like, oh, is he dead? Like,
right.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, he falls down from fighting these moths, kind of wipes
himself off.
And he's like, all right, let's
he's
keep
like,
doing
right.
some evil stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to go be bad some more. So, so that's where we left off in the episode. I thought it was a very good episode.
It was. I don't think anyone would dispute it's the best episode of the series
of the series so far, yes.
But again, that doesn't mean that the other episodes can suck. You know?
Right. And I hope from here, there's 3 episodes left. I hope the last 3 are just as good as this one. Yeah. And I hope they didn't spend all their money and all their brain power on this. We need to have this. Yeah. We need to have, and there's going to be another fight at the end because
Right.
Saul and Chimere have to fight again. So it's going to be the rematch, the Rocky Balboa rematch that
Right.
I was hoping that we would get. We wouldn't have to wait all the way to episode 8 to see a good fight.
Right.
So we're going to get that again. But let's hope that then the next 2 or 3 episodes don't suck because that we spent put all our eggs in this basket, and we said, we're going to make this one awesome.
And that's again, since we've last had another podcast, another episode of House of the Dragon has come out and cemented like what actual good television storytelling is, and it's like because every episode and everything that happens in every episode feels like it matters and means something. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like so, like I just hope that they. I say this, but I don't think it's going to be the case because we've seen it with several projects so far. But I just wish they would realize, like, if you're going to make this stuff, make every episode count. Especially if you're only giving us 8 episodes. Yeah, and you're only giving us 35-minute episodes. Like make every you have this little bit. If you want to make it 50 minutes, then you can add these long, extended artsy shots. Right. You know, like House of the Dragon had like a whole 20-second shot in the first episode. The last episode just came out, just of a battlefield covered in bodies. Yeah, it was like, and it just stayed there. And stayed there. You saw more and more of it, and it was like at a certain point you were just kind of like, oh my god, this is going on forever. Yeah, but you know, it didn't piss me off because there was like, you know, an hour and 4 minutes left in the episode. Right. You know, when it's a 34-minute episode and we're looking at a rock for 25 seconds, it's like, all right, let's go. Let's go. Yeah. We don't have 23 episodes to work through. We have 8. Yeah. So let's do this. Yep. So again, it is a vast improvement. I hope that this is a sign that the rest of the season is on more in this tack than anything else. But I just hope that Star Wars reevaluates. This is the sort of content we need out of everything. Yes, I agree. I'm trying to look at all the different TV series that came out since Disney Plus. The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, the Tales of the Acolyte, Tales of the Empire, whatever, and the Acolyte. I guess they're the big ones, right? So I'm like trying to figure out, like, as of right now, even with Episode 5, I think this still stands above Book of Boba Fett, but below everything else. Yep. Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, I think that can change. We shall see. Yeah, we'll see if it. I'm trying to I still think Mandalorian is the best for sure. Yep. Andor, I really enjoyed Andor a lot. Me too, but I don't know. Ahsoka, I don't know. And Ahsoka was good. Obi-Wan I liked a lot. Because I liked Obi-Wan. Yeah. You know, it's hard. I mean, Mandalorian, I think, stands far and above the rest of them is just without question. Yeah, I think, and even the best episode of the Book of Boba Fett was a Mandalorian episode. Yep. So it was like, but yeah, so I don't know. I think Ahsoka and Obi-Wan are probably very similar to me in how much I like them both. Agreed. Yeah, they're pretty even, and then but I think well below those would be this one so far. This one and the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, there's a good space, I would say, between those two because I think they're quality. I don't think they're amazing, but I think they're quality. I think they're quality. And then Book of Boba Fett and this so far. Yeah, and again, not to say that there's nothing good that comes out of them, but overall product. Overall product. I wouldn't if I had to go back and rewatch episodes, and they told me you have to go back and rewatch all the episodes of 3 shows. The Acolyte and Book of Boba Fett would not be 2 that I would pick. No, they would not. I would definitely pick any one of those: Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Andor, or Mando. Yeah. All right, man. All right, well, so that was we're more than halfway through. We have 2 more episodes or 3? 3 more episodes. One drops tomorrow. That's right. Yeah. So on Disney Plus, you might have heard of them. Disney. Yeah. I wonder if it's a different time. Nope. No, probably not. 9 o'clock. Probably not. 9 o'clock. Yeah, check it out on Disney. Check out all the Ears Up people on all the podcast places. Catch us on the social medias. Write to your local congressman about Rob's beard. Yep. Make sure that it becomes. Back. Oh, funny thing about today is there's 2 things. I was going to say, you write to your congressman and get Rob's beard as a national holiday. Yeah. Today is also Bobby Bonilla Day, talking about sports real fast. Okay.
Bobby Bonilla was a baseball player, played for the Mets, and he was so bad that they got rid of his contract early. But in part of getting rid of his contract
How much did
somehow,
they have to pay him?
they had to pay him $1,196,000 or something like that every year until like at least for 8 or 9 more years.
Yeah.
And he like left baseball, like it's like a 15-year deal.
So he just left baseball and collected $2 million a year.
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah. And every year on this day, here it is. Every July 1st from 2011 to 2035.
Wow.
Darn it, I just lost it. But anyway.
That's a 24-year contract.
Yeah, 2035, they have to pay him $1,197,000 something dollars a year on this date until 2035.
So it's Bobby Bonilla payday.
Bobby Bonilla payday. So
happy payday, buddy.
I wish I was that.
Go buy yourself something nice.
Yeah, that good and bad all at the same
Right?
time.
You're good enough to be in the major leagues and bad enough to get kicked out of the major leagues.
To get kicked out and for them to say, no, we want to buy you out of your contract.
Yeah,
okay.
You're so bad. We gave you too good a deal.
Too good of a deal.
We'd rather just pay you to do nothing.
To do nothing. We're going to pay you $1 million a year to do nothing. That was a great line in Moneyball. I don't know if I love Moneyball, but the coach was talking to one of the players and he goes, "We're not paying your salary. The Yankees are paying you to not play for them."
Yeah.
He's like, we don't know you anything.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, it like really knocked them down a notch there, but it was really funny. Like, yeah, they wanted you off their team so bad they're willing to pay us to take you from them.
Yep.
So there we go. So on those notes, on sports notes, yay sports!
Hooray, sports ball! We have
sports ball. Finish up my chocolate, my black licorice.
Chug, chug. We have spoken.
We have spoken.